Go. I will be back in a quick minute. Whew. Look like a fool. Anything back here? No. I am back! Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm dropping my markers everywhere. Oh, no. Wait a minute, I gotta pick up my markers. Oh my god, I'm checking my booty like I have a booty. Ha ha ha! Oh my god, I sound like an idiot. Uh-oh. Whoever's on right now, I'm so sorry that you guys just had to hear me act like a fool. I am so sorry. Okay. Exactly. Huh? I see that I have 2 viewers on. If you want to drop a comment to say hi, then that is really good. Hi everyone, I am going to be interviewing Miss Veronica Gallegos, the most prettiest bug ever in my opinion. I know there might be some people that disagree, but yeah, I'm going to have fun getting to interview my girl. I see that I have 2 people on right now. Would you like to drop a comment and say hello? Because I would love, oh the man, because I only have 1 now. Same diff. If anybody wants to say hello, then go ahead. Joey! Oh my god. Cards.
Hi, may I get Chino? I'm a puppy.
A apple
Chino.
cider, a tall apple
I'd like a
cider,
Chino.
the caramel apple
Give me
cider.
the Chino.
Yeah, you want this caramel apple cider?
Want a Chino?
Yes.
What size?
Hi, may I get Chino? I'm a puppy.
A apple
Chino.
cider, a tall.
Are you almost done with your makeup? I know the bride didn't tell you, but I need mine done too. I'm her brother's girlfriend, so I'm kind of important here. Hi. Yes, I'm just doing the final touches, and then you can take a seat if you'd like. Perfect. Now, how much is that going to be? It's $60 if you just want makeup. If you want fake eyelashes, it's $75. Okay, that's kind of ridiculous. I'm not paying for fake eyelashes. Okay, no problem. You can just do the regular makeup then. Whatever. Are you getting your makeup done? Oh, I don't think so, honey. I just did some light makeup this morning.
Yeah. Oh my god. I'm already on. Ugh. I just don't know why she's not understanding it.
I don't think so, honey.
Oh my god!
Motivation and a passion. Ready for we gon' take action. Time to get active. This is the main attraction. The motivation and a passion. Ready for we gon' take action. Time to get active. This is the main attraction. The motivation and a passion. Ready for.
Why don't you just try on your personal page? Because I don't have a way that I can join anybody from a business page like yours. I don't. I am no...
The motivation and a passion.
I I don't have Down syndrome.
This is the main attraction, and the motivation and the passion. Ready for it, we gon' take action. Time to get active.
Idiot. Let go! Oh, I hope I don't look bad. Uh-oh.
Is it working?
It's working perfect. You look beautiful as always.
Oh, thank you. It wasn't letting me on my page, and I have no idea why, so we'll just do it this way. It's
Well,
totally fine.
yeah, it's so weird. It's like I don't know how to get somebody's business page on the mine.
I mean, it shouldn't be a business page. It's just a Facebook page, and online tells me that you can do it. I don't know why it's not letting me send something
Well,
for me.
I don't think you watched my interview with Joe Morrison, but when I tried to have him join from his page, like his racing page, it wouldn't work.
Okay.
Just was like, no. But Veronica, I want to let you know my dad kind of talked to me about those messages you sent him.
That's okay.
I got busted for that. Oops.
Okay. You're okay, Megan.
But I'm happy that you're doing this because I wanted to do it in Texas last year, but you were so busy with helping your dad and everything. But
Yeah, race weekends, we usually have a lot going on, so they're usually pretty busy regardless. But we got some time now during the week, so let's do it, girl.
okay. So, how did you first get involved with being a bug for your dad and then for Cody and then for everybody else?
I think I just kind of fell into it. My dad's been racing ever since I was really, really young. He really didn't jump into the semi-professional world until I was a teenager. And when that happened, we kind of started to build like our crew and our community, and everyone kind of had their own job with the car. And one day he came up to me and was like, "Hey, do you want to back up the car?" And I had no idea what he meant by that. I mean, I had been around it. I knew kind of everyone had, a job, but I didn't really know what the whole backing up the car meant. And he was like, "I promise you, it's not scary. You just have to jump out there in front of the car and make sure you put me in the groove." And I was like, "Okay, what's the groove?" And so I kind of had to learn from him, what all of that was and how to do it. And it was terrifying to say the least, but it also takes a special person to want to be on the track with something so crazy as a race car. Those things can be pretty, pretty undeniable and sometimes unpredictable. So you have to really know what you're doing when you're out there. So yeah, I would say it's been since I was a teenager. I think I was about 16 when I did it for the first time. So I'm, oh my gosh, a little older now. So it's been it's been pretty long for me, but still fun nevertheless. I'm always learning how to do my job better and how to help the teams better, essentially.
So, how did you get asked to back up the Say It Loud car? It used to be Red Baron.
I think it's you develop friendships first. I have met so many cool people throughout the racing world community. I grew up around them, and we all kind of grew up around each other. For the most part, you have your aunts and uncles and sisters and brothers, and I feel like it's kind of the same way with us bugs and us racers in general. We all kind of have a community out there, and It's really fun and really nice to know that people support you no matter what, and they're always willing to help you learn and grow. And sometimes that's invitations to help out with whatever they need on their team. And I want to be a part of the racing world no matter what. So I don't think I've ever really turned down any job they've given me. So I think that's where I would draw the line is it starts with a friendship and it just kind of grows from there. And obviously these teams have to trust you to be able to come back and do the job again. So it's up to you to represent them well. And I think a lot of us bugs do that pretty well. So
I can agree, and for me, being a newbie, kind of still, I'm still trying to get used to going out in front of the car because I was scared when I backed up the funny cars
It's
to March
it's
meet. I was
scary,
like,
man. Like sometimes, I mean, the inevitable, was always going to happen. Those drivers have to worry about, what could or couldn't happen on the starting line or, down the track. And, people that we care about are getting strapped into those cars. So at the same time, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want something to happen to me, but I don't want something to happen to the driver. So it's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of scariness, but as long as you know what you're doing, even if you are a first timer, people are usually, good about telling you like, hey, it doesn't have to be that scary. You can do this, and they instill that confidence in you. And sometimes it just takes doing it once, and you're like, man, that was a rush. Like that was kind of fun. Let's do it again. So that's kind of where that excitement comes from is doing it the first time and getting it out of the way. Either it's for you or it's not. I think the same goes with a lot of the drivers. Like, it takes a pretty crazy person to jump into these nitro cars and to actually want to drive them, so pretty special person. It takes a pretty special person to be able to do that. So I'd be
yeah.
I'd be pretty proud, Megan, that you're part of the bug world now. You're definitely special.
Well, yeah, it was pretty scary when I backed up Brett Williamson at the March meet last year. I'm thinking, okay, this is my first time doing this. I'm a bit nervous, but I had one of my good friends go out there with me just to kind of make sure that I knew what I was doing. And the one thing is that was the hardest, trying to find the person behind the car because I
I
couldn't
have
find the
that
person
problem too.
person behind.
Some funny car drivers like to have I mean, some of them flip the hatch open when they're backing up and some don't. I've found that sometimes it's like the perfect storm where they flip the hatch open and the person standing right behind the hatch is where I can't see them. So then I'm like, shoot, I have to adjust myself and I have to move over so I make sure that I see the person behind the car. But I mean, any good bug is going to know, they're going to inspect the track ahead of time, just like the team does. And they're going to know, where the groove is, where it's not, where the car needs to be, what things to avoid. So I mean, it is up to you. There have been times where we didn't have somebody in the back of the car, we didn't have enough crew for that. So me as a bug, I had to do more of a bug job than just following someone else's hand signals. So it is a hard job, and it's kudos to any of those girls that stick it out and help the teams out. So
It's exciting when you get asked like beforehand, like what you and Cody did when you got asked before he made his pass.
yeah,
But
no, that's fun too. It kind of gives you time to think about things. And each team, like I said, each team is different. Some people want you really super hands-on. Other teams have their own routine and they kind of just want you to be part of the show. And that's not to regress away from what you can give to the team and offer for them. But it's like I said, we're out there to help them look good and have a good time. And we have our own routines as well. So it's different for everybody, but it's definitely nice to know ahead of time like what team you're going to be with and what plans they do or don't have. Like I have a specific, like if I get asked or I join a team or something, I'm talking to the driver ahead of time. I'm talking to the crew chief ahead of time. Like, what are you guys doing? What's your routine? Where are you going to be out on the track? What your plan is. That way we're all on the same page, because like I said, it doesn't, just because we're part of the show doesn't mean we're not part of the team specifically. So as a team player, you need to be on the same page.
you probably haven't seen videos of the one car I backed up at March Meet last year, but the crew guy,
I've
one
seen
of the
a
crew
few.
guys,
I've seen a couple, yeah.
he runs ahead of the car right when he's doing his burnout. He doesn't go to where you're supposed to be down by where the wall is. He doesn't go all the way down there. He
Mhm.
just chases the car down. So if you were in that position, like sitting in the driver's seat and you don't see the person in front of you, but you feel somebody coming beside you, how would you react?
I mean, it's definitely scary. I mean, I've had drivers, make sure that we talk ahead of time because they've had people that are inexperienced, and it's scary, and they don't want anything to happen to us either. And I think they, at the end of the day, also have expectations. So it's nice to know like the safety issue. I know that we've gone over it multiple times in Funny Car Chaos, and I know IHRA is probably going to have talk with everybody in the rules, and they're just getting started too. So I understand, but it is a safety issue when people aren't, taking care of themselves in a sense. Because like I said, these cars are unpredictable and they're scary, and, things can happen at any time. And we've seen it. We've seen a lot of sad instances where cars, the clutch stick, the clutch stick's backing up, and, they run people over, or, they launch off the starting line and they go straight into the wall where people are at. It's really scary, and you have to be aware at all times. But I have specific rules for myself, and I don't ever expect to tell people, this is what it is or this is what it isn't. But I think it's always safer to make sure you're down at the end of the track before the car goes down, and on the other side of the safety wall. Like, that's what those barriers are there for. That, I know that, the photographers know that. That's why they're on the other side, not on this side. So it's like I said, it's a safety issue at the end of the day. And if I were a driver in that instance, I would probably be more focused on someone's safety than I would be the car. And that's probably the most dangerous thing, because a driver needs to be 100% focused on what's going on with the car.
Yeah. And with there was a couple years ago at a race in Boise, and during the summer there was a car backfired right on the starting line. Everything just went
Yep.
like all the
Yep.
way.
There have been cars that have started up and exploded. There have been cars that, they get up there to stage and they launch off the starting line and parts go flying. I'm guilty of it. Everyone else is guilty of it. We all want to be there. We want to be part of it. Our team wants to be in it. We want to know what's going on. But at the end of the day, I've had to say, okay, I'm a little too close to the car right now. I need to take a step back. That's why you see, I mean, the NHRA is pretty good at it. Obviously, they've got a lot of teams they're all in uniforms. They're all lined up behind the car, and they're significantly farther back than where the car starts. And that's not for show, that's for safety. So
yeah.
I'm hoping.
And for you, do you wear just normal earplugs and then earmuffs on top, or do you just wear earplugs on your own?
So I'm gonna be honest, Megan. I'm probably the least perfect person out there. I actually grew up around these cars. I grew up in the pits. I had my 12th birthday at a racetrack, which was probably the coolest birthday party I've ever had, still to this day.
Yeah.
So my getting used to all of the sounds has always just been, that's just what it is. I've never really protected my hearing per se. When my dad first got the first nitro car the first funny car that we purchased, it was new to me. It was like we had gone to races where other people had nitro cars, but we had never had a nitro car. So the first time he started that thing up in our freaking suburban garage in the middle of, Midwest Kansas, we're pissing off our neighbors. I'm freaking out. I was like, holy cow, that's a whole different level of sound. And I understand, like, meeting people like Big Daddy Don Garlitz and Dale Poldy and all those guys have they've been, can you shut the door, please? They've been around this their entire life, and they're like half deaf. And I was like, okay, well, I need to learn my lesson here while I'm young. So I went to Vegas actually a few years ago for one of the races down there, and I believe it's Racing Equipment has an earplug. It's fitted to your eardrum. I guess that's the best way I can describe it. They just take like a styrofoam glue thing and they shoot it into your ear, and it molds to your ear. I got one of those, and they had it mailed to me, and that's the kind that I use. Like I said, I'm not perfect. She's got, it's my daughter Kennedy. She's got the little earmuffs, but I don't really like the big clunky things, unless there's like a radio or a need for it. So I do
Yeah.
like the little fit ones. Plus, you can get them in whatever color you want. I got the little champagne colored, so honestly, it
Yeah.
matches my skin color and it doesn't take away from my outfit, I guess, if that makes sense. So,
But for me, dealing with sensory issues, when I'm backing up a car, I have to put the normal earplugs in and then the earmuffs on top.
no, absolutely. And like I said, I'm
Just
not perfect. Everyone's different. Some people don't wear them at all, which, we should all coach them to protect their hearing at a young age, because I know that it does catch up to you, from what we've seen. So just trying to do my best. And like I said, we always have a lot going on. So I try to do my best, but not perfect with it.
well, yeah, and this actually is not another question I wanted to ask.
Mhm.
Before you back your dad up, or like before you back up anybody, do you get nervous just standing by the wall,
Uh,
watching them do the burnout and then going over the wall?
so I
Do
think
you just get nervous watching them
I
do
wouldn't
their
call
thing?
I wouldn't call it nervousness anymore. I think I used to back when I was younger and I didn't really know what I was doing and I was still learning. But I've done it so much. Thank you. I've done it so much. If you go out, please close the door. I've done it. I've done it so much now that I think I get more nervous for the process. Like I'm standing at the wall and I'm thinking of what the run's gonna look like. Like is are we gonna go down the track? If we do make it down the track, or is my dad's I don't want to say it, but he's guilty of going off the end of the track. All the good drivers are, right.
Yeah, that's
I'm, I'm,
true.
I'm, I'm just worrying, I think, more about the run and how it's going to look like. It's more of an adrenaline rush, I guess we'll call it. We'll not call it nervousness, I think. It's just anxious about how it's going to go and what our process is going to be after the run. So,
So when you guys were at the IHRA race last year, when your dad had that big blow up near the starting line,
mhm.
what caused that to happen?
I think it was a mix of a few different things. We had some new people working on our car. We had some new parts. It was really one of the first real outings we had with that funny car. We had some combinations that did not agree with each other, and ultimately, just just didn't go, and that's okay. And we learned a lot. We cleaned up our crew. We cleaned up our parts. Got a lot of new parts and a lot of safe parts. So we are excited to have everything together this year. We had some little gremlins that we had a clutch problem at Galat, and that was okay. Because we found it immediately. My dad had some stuff that he forgot to put in, and
Oh.
we owned up to it and said, you know what, we're here just like everyone else is here. It takes a lot to get here, and it was really cool to see our whole entire team there and working together. And we found the parts. We have a new. We actually had an extra bullet sitting in the semi. We took that out. We took out the old one, put it together, and we have a new engine in the car, and we're ready to go back in, I think, June. We're going to go back to Ohio and hopefully get that funny car down the track.
So is your dad gonna drive both the fuel altered and the funny car, or just the funny car?
That's the plan. So we do have the fuel altered. That we also plan to make as many events as we can. I think the plan now is to alternate them. So we have the funny car, we're taking it and we're trying to get that thing down the track, man. But if it doesn't go, we've got this alternate car, which is the fuel altered, and those things are fun, man. My dad's a great driver, and he knows how to get that thing down the track. They're fun to drive, and I think that we've been pretty consistent with that in general. So we plan to kind of alternate. Like I said, it's as money allows, as crew allows, and as time allows, we're going to make as many races as we can. And I think we've even hopped back into like Nitro Chaos races and World Fuel Altered Nationals. I think is sometime this summer. If we get an itch to go to something like that, that's definitely not off the table.
So with that fuel altered chaos race that's going on, I think twice this year, the one in May and November.
Mhm.
Are you
we
guys gonna do either one of those
I
or
don't
just
believe we plan on being in the one at the one in May. I think, like I said, it just depends on, what everything, we've got a lot of personal stuff going on. I mean, we all have a life outside of all of this. We're not, a full-time racing team as much as we would like to be. My sister's actually getting married in Florida here in a month, so we kind of had to, cancel a couple of the opportunities that we would have had. I think we plan to take the Fuel Altered to St. Louis to go testing. Other than that, that's kind of, we're kind of just riding it out and making sure we have our stuff together for June for the funny car.
Okay. So, what are your favorite parts of like being a bug? And do you think you have anything that's like hard being a backup girl that like involves
So
outfits, your everything?
So I want to be honest, Megan. I went over your questions, all day today, and I think this was the hardest one. This kind of stuck with me all day, and I've been thinking about it, and I think the hardest thing about being a backup girl is being underestimated before we even start. And I think that's why a lot of the girls are so intimidated to want to be backup girl. I see so many comments on Facebook saying, "I want to be a backup girl, but I don't know how," or "I want to be a backup girl, but I don't want all the drama," or "I want to be a backup girl, but I don't want people saying mean things about me." I think people in general, men in general, assume that women don't know a lot about cars, and I feel like we have to prove ourselves twice as much as we would anywhere else, and that's hard in and of itself. So I really pride myself in making sure people feel welcomed and making sure that people that are seasoned, like there are plenty of bugs out here that have been working at it for a long time, and they really, I'm not perfect, I don't know absolutely everything, but if someone's new and they're asking questions, I'm gonna be the first person to say, "Hey, like this is how I do it, this is what makes me feel comfortable." I think it's good to be inclusive like that. So I would say definitely it feels like you have to work harder for respect. But like I said, it's always good to surround yourself with people that respect you. And I think that's what matters most, the way you represent yourself, and the way you represent these teams matters. And that's why these teams, continue to ask many of these bugs to come back year after year, is because they say, "Okay, I've seen your value. I've seen what you can add to our team. You're a cute girl, but you're fun to be around, and you're a hard worker, and you can offer all these things to us." And I think that's the first part. I think the middle part would be the balancing of family life and racing life. I mean, I know not everyone out there is a mom, but the majority of these girls that come out to these races, like, they've got kiddos. They're trying to wrangle the kids and wrangle the pit and wrangle the driver at the same time, and that's a lot. So to make sure you have like a village per se of people that are there for you to watch your kiddos. For example, Kennedy, over the weekend I was in Tulsa for Funny Car Chaos, and I had some chaos friends that were like, "Hey, Kennedy, I saw Kennedy's with you. If she wants to watch the race instead of sitting in the car, during the run, I'd be more than happy to sit with her in the stands." And to me, like, that was like the biggest weight off my shoulders. I was like, okay, somebody I trust, somebody that can, have her sit up there and watch me. And honestly, my mama heart just melted. I was walking out there on the drag strip, and I looked up at the stands, and she was, "Mama, mama." And I was so like, I don't care, man. Win, lose, draw. I really don't care what would have happened the rest of the weekend. That won my heart. It was really inspiring, and it was really heartwarming, and I know it's really inspiring for her too, because I know she's like, "I want to be a backup girl." Actually, I take that back. She actually asked me on the way home if she could drive a junior dragster. So she's more inspired about these women drivers, and I will say that's probably the next thing I think is it's hard to the talking about not being serious and not feeling like people aren't taking you seriously. It's even worse for these women drivers. I know that the women in the NHRA get it. I know the Funny Car Chaos women drivers get it. I know the Legends of Nitro, girls get it. And it's like I said, it's hard across the board to be a woman in the sport. So I think that's why it's more important than ever to have your own sense of community and make sure that you're making these other women feel included, and make it light and fun, and that's how it should be. It shouldn't be anything else. So I would say maybe the last thing that makes it so hard, and it kind of goes hand in hand with the first thing that I said about not being taken seriously. It's having to ignore and defend, I guess, the stereotypes and the ignorant and I would say gross comments that we get. We consistently represent these teams on and off the track, and some of us really do like to have all of that separate because we do have our personal lives at home. So me personally, I like to have my backup girl page because I don't want to piss off all my non-drag racing friends by always posting about that on my personal page, But it's
Yeah.
to have your own identity, I guess, if that makes sense, especially if you're looking for sponsors, things like that. But with all of the good also comes all of the bad. Like you put yourself out there to get that negative feedback, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And that's probably the hardest part because it really does, you can say it doesn't bother you all day long, but at the end of the day, it feelings do get hurt sometimes, and it's really tough to have to work through that sometimes. But it is the internet. I mean, it's like I said, what you put out there is what you expect to get back as well. So I think that it's just important to make sure that you're representing yourself well on and off the internet.
I can agree with that because you probably didn't see it, but it was a post that somebody made, and it was all about me and how like ridiculous that everything was.
I
They
commented on
made
that.
an
I did see that. It was very
yeah,
inappropriate. Mhm.
they made a AI picture of me looking
Mhm.
like the freaking grimace from McDonald's because of my purple shirt from the race and the March meet.
Yeah.
For me, I felt like just downright dirt after I saw that. But
And like I said, I mean, you can't teach the amount of confidence, or you can't teach how you need to respond like that to somebody. They kind of have to learn it on their own. But it is tough. Like it's kind of like ripping off a band-aid. Like people will still to this day. There's a random comment on one of the bigger pages that'll repost about us bugs or something, and I'm just like, man, it bothers me that that person said that, but I know for a fact they don't know me as a person. You go click on their profile and it's some ugly old bald man who has no idea about anything, and you're kind of makes you feel better at the end of the day, like, you're really one to talk, buddy. So I don't go on there and like clap back at every single comment that's on Facebook, but I definitely try and keep things, straight and narrow. Like I don't appreciate them, speaking ill about other bugs and women in sports in general. Like I know a lot of the drivers. I know Ida actually just responded. I know she didn't have to defend herself as well, but I know that people have been commenting on her weight recently, and that's also unkind. But she responded back by doing a live video of her eating tacos. Like she didn't even care.
I saw
I
that.
think that's how it should be. You shouldn't have to worry about that, But like I said, there are people, even the most confident, beautiful women still get hurt sometimes. And like I said, at the end of the day, you have to think it's more about them than it is about you. So
Yeah,
it's more
and
important to have a community that's going to have your back and support you and tell you, hey, Megan, even if they said you're the little grimace from McDonald's, you're the cutest little grimace from McDonald's I've ever seen. So go ahead and let them know that.
yeah, and I just I haven't come on and
Oh,
said this in a while since that happened, but everybody that came around me made sure I was not handling it on my own.
mhm.
I've never felt like that before, like anybody's ever had my back, but
Yeah.
everybody does.
And they do. And it sucks that it takes something like that for it to show you, who's on your side and who isn't. But I mean, like at the end of the day, you don't need 85 random internet strangers to tell you that you're worth something. Like
No.
I think you're beautiful, and I think you're fun, and I think you're funny, and I think that all these interviews you've done are great. You ask a lot of real questions that people are interested to know. So I think it's great what you're doing, and I don't think you should let it bother you. And if you do, you can chat with any of us girls at any time, and we'll reassure you as much as we can.
Yeah, and to me, you're one of the ones that really stood out to me when I first became friends with all these bugs because you're a mom and you still are out there being a bug and you are a good example for your own daughter.
Well, and
And
that's
it's
another boundary that shouldn't stop you. There's a lot of things. There are a lot of what do we call them? Um, they are no, they are whatever the beliefs are, whatever you tell yourself that's not true. The word's not coming to my head, but it's something that you tell yourself. You put a limit on yourself, and I don't believe in that. I used to, but then I realized, you can be a mom and still lift weights. You can be a mom and still go drag racing. You can be a mom. Like it's not even being a mom. It's being a person. It's being a a grown woman, a human being that is capable of so much more than just a title. So that's the example that I hope to make sure Kennedy knows that there's not a glass ceiling that she has to break. Like she's
yeah,
she's a real world national treasure, and she can do absolutely anything she puts her mind to, and there's nothing that should hold her back. And we're
yeah, and
all of us bugs and moms are all living proof of that. There's plenty of moms at the track that are, Alyssa's over there balancing her two kids and running back and forth with kids. She's got her village that helps her out in between rounds. And, Bonnie and her kids, she's got her daughter that does junior drag racing. Like there's all these
yeah,
people that balance it very, very well. And it's inspiring because some days I feel like I can't do it until I do it. And then I'm like, oh, it wasn't so bad. But then
yeah,
your kid or your family member, whoever it is, gets to see you live your dream alongside of you, like they're alongside of you when you're following your dreams, and that makes it much more special.
yeah. And for me, getting to have a big racing family and big sisters that are bugs, I look up to all you guys because you guys really make it feel like I can go out there and be myself and not have to conform to anybody.
No, you absolutely are. And
And
I think that's what makes all of us backup girls so unique is that we are all our own different person. There may be bug contests or, like, oh, let's match the cars or oh, everyone is their own person with their own right, and we all have our own identity, and it's so fun to get out there and see that some girls don't
yeah,
give a crap, other girls are like dressed to the nines, some are really cute and others are just like whatever, but at the end of the day we're all doing the same job. We're all representing our teams well. We're all representing ourselves as much as we can, or as good as we can. And that's what makes it special, is that everyone is different in their own right, and it's nice to see some of the differences too, because we either get inspired or we're like, oh, we want to be, like them, or we have new ideas, or we make new friendships. It's all about that community. So I really enjoy what the bug community has become in the newer age of the racing era, I guess we could say, because we're not Jungle Pam era anymore. And I know a lot of us have struggled with that
yeah.
on the internet. But yeah, so I'm pretty lucky to have the community that I have in general, and to meet all these new bugs and old bugs, and learn from everybody.
Yeah, and I, when my dad and I were watching the race this past weekend from Tulsa, I was rooting for you and Alyssa to do good the whole weekend because
I
I
was
was
No, I was
actually,
really, man, it happened. The perfect storm happened, and we just happened to back up our respective cars, and we both ended up going to the final. And I was like, man, like I was so nervous because of that, but I was like racking my brain. I was like, what is something fun that we can do? I was like, I want to do something that like entertains the crowd. I was like, me and Alyssa, we're both moms. We can both pretty much put ourselves in any position we want. I was like, we should do something really fun. And actually, I had this prank I was going to play on one of the photographers at the IHRA race. Jerry, he's the Red Line Motorsports media guy.
yeah, yeah.
So I had bought a pack of like 30, that's a ridiculous amount of fake mustaches, but Amazon, I guess, doesn't sell them by the 5 packs.
Yeah.
So I bought a pack of 30 fake mustaches, and I was like,
Oh, yeah, I saw
like,
that.
I'm going to put on a mustache the first round, the first run when I go out there, because first round, I don't qualifying. I'm like, I don't really feel like dressing up yet. It's still really hot. Like, I'm just gonna go out there in my water sock shirt, shameless plug, and leggings, and I don't care. And I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. Well, I was so nervous about first round qualifying. We had already run into some stuff we were trying to figure out with the car, and I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go. I was freaking out. Completely forgot about the mustaches. So I get back down, I'm unpacking my suitcase, and I was like, damn it. I was like, well, I gotta find another race I can do this at. And then I was like, oh shoot, I forgot Jerry's going to Tulsa. I was like, oh, this is gonna be perfect. I bet these funny car chaos bugs are gonna eat this right up. So I ordered every single girl I could in the staging lanes, and I was like, hey guys, listen, I got a pack of fake mustaches. Can we just put these on real quick and go take a picture? And they were all laughing. They were like, oh my God, this is so fun. So we all put them on. I think there was like 6 of us, correct me if I'm wrong, but we all walked up there, put our mustaches on, and Jerry saw me first. I was walking in front of them. I had my mustache on, and he like zoomed in on me to take a picture, and he like did it again. And then I saw him zoom in again, and he did it again. And then he looked beyond his camera and was like, and then he saw all of us behind him with all of the mustaches on, and he was cracking. I've never seen that guy smile so big in my life. And turns out, like we talked about with the spreading positivity and kindness, it turns out that he needed a little extra boost, for his week. So that was really, I think, fun and lighthearted, and all the girls were super, super, super fun and just, good sports about it. And we all ripped our mustaches off. I hope we took a picture without the mustaches. That would have been great. I think there was somewhere floating around. I know I specifically asked for us to have a non-mustache picture, so I hope there's something like that floating out there. I haven't seen it yet, but that was really fun. I actually am in the process of thinking of what prank I can pull next on the photographers and the videographers. So we shall see what I have up my sleeve. Who knows?
And I just want to say that positivity post that you did, it made me come up with the idea. I'm going to do one every month, but with different people in my pictures.
I think that's great. I know that there are plenty of companies and drag racers, and some people have more of a spiritual side of things. Some people have real life positivity, whatever. I know that people highlight things constantly, and I think it would be great to do something like that, to highlight a win, to highlight a bug, to highlight a racer, to highlight something good that happened to somebody, and really go into detail about how it changed their life, or how that came about, and what made it better, and what made it such a great event. And it's always good to hear, because there's so many like crashes and drama, and who's doing this to who. Like, there's so much of that in drag racing. We kind of look over all the good things that happened. There are drivers that are just getting back behind the wheel after 25 years of driving, and they're making it to, or not driving, they're making it to a final round. There are little guys that have no money and open trailers, and they're winning events. There are so many good things that happen in the sport of drag racing that really just don't get the the time or attention, and I think that's everyone's responsibility to make sure that they're promoting that too, because the world is watching, not just the racing world, because we all love it. It's like WWE, how there's a new storyline every time. There's a new drama event. There's a new something or other. There has to be, juiciness to it. I think it's cool. It'll be really cool that you'll do that, and I'll be excited to see what you have to post about.
Yeah, and like we talked about earlier, like how do you select your bug outfits for the weekend? How do you find these boots that are so gorgeous? I want a pair of them.
So I have to also be honest about that. Like I said, I've been doing this since I was a teenager. My bug outfit used to be a racing t-shirt, because I would get a new racing shirt like every weekend. Every race we went to, it was a new, like I was at the t-shirt trailer, or somebody I would help out. They're like, please let me give you a t-shirt to pay you for helping me. And I'm like, okay. But then 10 years later, I'm like, holy crap, I have like 100 racing t-shirts and I have no idea what to do with them. I want to do something with them, but I haven't done anything with them yet. I want to make like a memory blanket. I think that would be cute. But I used to just be very plain, and I didn't really play into the whole backup girl thing until, I don't know, Funny Car Chaos really came about a couple years into it, maybe. So, I don't know, gosh, I don't know how long ago that was. I would say maybe 4 years, 5 years ago. Blech. 5 years ago was probably the first time I really tried to start dressing up and making it more about the show. And
Yeah.
like I really got a lot of my inspiration from a lot of the nostalgic pictures I had seen of Jungle Pam and you know Shirley Muldowney and Linda Hurst. Like there were a lot of pictures. I was like, first of all, I think I was born in the wrong era. I'm in love with Elvis Presley. I'm a 50s, 60s girl, so like any of
Me
that
too.
cool retro stuff I was so into. So I did buy my first pair of go-go boots off of Amazon, and it was they called it Halloween go-go boots costume or something. I don't know what it was, but I was like, okay,
Okay.
I'll be honest, those things are really comfortable to run in. People think that
Really?
they're really hard to walk in, run in. Man, I can run, I think, better in those than I can my track shoes, to be honest. Like I don't know what it is about them. They're a thick heel. They have, they fit your foot very well. So
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you, but those were the white boots were the first pair I've ever purchased, and I to this day will say with confidence the white boots are always going to be my favorite, and I will always wear them as much as I can. So I would say I don't really have a rhyme or reason. I one of my favorite bug outfits I got from Amazon for $10. It was that flag. Have you seen the flag
Oh
dress?
my gosh, yes, the American flag outfit. I loved
People
it.
go crazy for that, and the first time I put it on, I felt like a weirdo. I was like, I'm the pole, and the flag is just like it just didn't really resonate with me at first. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
say the one race last year, I think I wore it the first time in Eddyville, but then the one race in Mocan last year, I
Yeah.
mean, it's a Midwest hick thing, but they were all about the red, white, and blue. Like they were, oh my gosh, they were, and it did match, the car. I think John Hill was driving Say It Loud at that time, and they had a baby
Yeah.
blue for the car. They had a wrap on there, and it kind of just happened to go with it. I know there are plenty of people. I know Mad Max tries to match her car. I know Gislin, Amy, I know she tries to match her car. I know Burnin' Love's got their thing going on with the whole. I mean, that's my thing over there too. The whole uh, Elvis theme, I guess. Uh,
Yeah.
but I know everyone kind of has their own thing, but I don't think I've ever been like, oh, I think I have to match the car. I guess if that makes sense. I kind of just
Yeah.
have found cute things here and there and put them together, and they just seem to work for me. So I would say I kind of just go with the flow. Sometimes I don't really care. I put on a pair of leggings and put on a branded shirt or something, and I'm like, all right, let's
Yeah.
go.
So I think you need to bring that red, white, and blue shirt back out. I think you might need to bring that back out because it
The
was
dress.
so cute. And I've been telling like Alyssa and other bugs to bring out some of their old outfits because a lot of them were like really good and getting a lot of attention.
Yeah. I mean, that's
And
what it is. Like I said, it just depends. It's their prerogative and it's their personal, opinion at the end of the day. Either you want to draw a lot of attention to yourself and the team or you don't. And like I said, I don't really put a whole lot of thought into it. I don't have like a suitcase full of outfits or anything. I kind of just I pack it all in one thing, and if I feel like wearing something, I don't. But I mean, for example, over the weekends, like it was kind of cold, so I was very reluctant to even wear what I wore. I was okay for maybe the first 10 minutes, but then we were in the stage range for like 40 minutes. And I was like, man, the skirt was a bad idea. And I had already worn the pants the day before, and I was like, don't really want to repeat an outfit, but I'm freezing. So it's just things like that. That's just like it changes every day. The weather changes.
yeah.
It's whatever I'm feeling for the day. Cody, Austin, they have their own specific theme. I just so
Yeah.
happen to not have any country wear with me when I went to back them up last minute. So he was just like, yeah, wear whatever you want. And I'm sure if I ever do it in the future, I'll pack my cowgirl hat so it'll match their theme. So I'm not against matching the cars. I just don't really have a rhyme or reason. I guess if that makes sense.
I totally get it. And for me, I actually got purple sparkly shirt. I bought it for one of the other drivers I was supposed to back up at the March meet, but he's having blood sugar issues, so he didn't really get to race much.
Oh.
But I wore it for the testing tune on Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
and I got like a rash from like here to here,
Oh.
just from here to here because of the heat and everything, and the sparkles were like lined up on my arm.
Mm-hmm.
And I
No,
don't.
like I said, it's comfortability at the end of the day, and I won't ever sacrifice my comfortability for, what I think I should or shouldn't wear. There have been days where I have to peel those stinking boots off, and I'm like, not doing it. And that's where I become a problem, and I wear my white tennis shoes on a black track, and people are like, Veronica, what are you doing? And I'm like, couldn't tell you, but I have to wash those things every single weekend I come back from the track. I tell you that.
Well, for me, I have a pair of black Puma tennis shoes, and they match so well with the track.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm wearing a white pair, and they are so dirty now. It's like, oh, I don't care. They're
But
my
white is
racing
so
shoes.
cute. It's so underrated. White things are cute. Like they make you pop. Same with my white go-go boots. Like I said, those are top tier for me. I will never. The gold is growing on me because maybe the way it looks in pictures, it's gorgeous. But the white, just like Bedrock Barbie, I absolutely love the contrast that she
Yeah,
does.
me
She did. I
too.
had white boots and a white skirt and then a red top. That was like, I mean,
Yes,
her
I
matched
love
car as
that.
well. Not really sure if that's on purpose or not because I've seen her wear the red and white before. But that was absolutely awesome. Like I absolutely,
Yeah.
I'm like, go white boots.
Yeah, for me, I wish I could wear white boots, but with my feet, instead of them being like this, if I wear heels, they go like that. So I
Yeah.
can't. I have to
Oh.
wear tennis shoes all the
You have
time.
like you have like inserts you could get. I know they have
I
like
used to, but the problem is with my sensory and everything.
it probably wouldn't work for you.
Yeah, and tennis shoes actually are more comfortable for me, like walking around the racetrack, but also backing up a car. It's like you
Mhm.
gotta figure out the way that so your feet don't stick.
Mhm. Practicality, Megan. I love it. Daniel said anyone
Because when I
else
backed up
is okay
Brett
with.
Williamson in the top field car at the March meet last year, I was in like my black yoga pants, tennis shoes, and a racing t-shirt, like what you used to do.
Yep.
And for me, that's how I feel comfortable. I feel
And
comfortable
that's
with just
that is
doing that.
a-okay. Don't let the internet tell you different, Megan. That is a-okay. You
Oh,
can still do your job.
uh,
You can still do your job without an outfit. You can still do it without your glitter and sparkles. It all gets done the same way, and sometimes it's better that way. So
yeah,
no expectations, and like I said, I think that's more or less what intimidates some of these young girls that do want to join the bug community is they think that they have to live up to a standard, and really the only standard you have to live up to is just being a good person.
yeah,
Being a good person, knowing how to do the job and doing it right. That's what keeps you out here, and that's what continues to give you all of these cool opportunities in the drag racing world. So that
yeah.
that would be my message to any young women that want to join our community is I know it looks scary and I know it's intimidating, but it's super super fun and it's what you make of it at the end of the day. You have absolutely every control of what you wear and who you're friends with and what teams you work for. So that's my take on that.
I agree with that because for me, it when I am like at the racetrack and I feel like okay, I if somebody asks me to be their bug, I'll do it. But I need to know in advance so I can have somebody go out there with me just in case if I need help. But also, every girl and woman out there needs to know, hey, there may be some people in this world that don't like you, but there's people that love you and care about you that want you to see you
And
do
that's
good and
that's really all that
be the
matters,
bug you
Megan.
want
I
to
know it's
be.
I know it's so hard at the end of the day to look past a lot of that, but you're not really out there to impress anybody. You're part of the show and you're there because the teams want you to be there, and that's what matters at the end of the day. It's how much you love yourself and what you can provide for the team and whatever you choose to put out there. So as long as you're just having fun with it at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Yeah. And if you Well, I'm trying to think. So, if you were like to gain another like racing little sister, what advice would you give to her
I
or
think
like
it
your daughter, for an
I think it
example?
would be kind of just everything I mentioned earlier about balancing the racing life, the family life, making sure that you're representing yourself well and representing the teams well, and not to put so much pressure on yourself, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. You know, we all think that we have to, go out there and be absolutely perfect and look a certain way, and you do have to, be morally and ethically, correct, but I don't think there's a right way to do a lot of this. We have our boundaries and we have our safety rules, and but at the end of the day, it's what you decide that you want to put out there. So I think that it's a no pressure situation. I think it's fun. You have to really love drag racing to do it, and I don't think any of these women feel forced to do it whatsoever. So I would just give them that advice to let them know that it's not as scary as it looks, and it just just do it. Just try it. See if you
Yeah.
like it.
Yep. And like along with that, what do you think are the best parts of just being a like a can't talk. What are the best parts of being like a backup girl, but also getting to have racing family and have like a little sister that looks up to you, that really thinks of you as somebody that is a really good person to look up to?
Well, I think that you just said it, Megan. I think that that's my favorite part is having those friends and family that support you and want to take you racing and show you all these new things and experiences, and like I love being at the track in whatever shape or form. I will say I'm a terrible uh, spectator. I don't like to sit and watch the races. I am always willing to help jump in. I will dust the rims on their wheels if they want me to, but I I think that's my favorite part is that it's ever changing and you're always learning something and you're always meeting new people and gaining new friendships, and that's what it's about at the end of the day. So
Yeah, and last one is, how can like my racing family and friends find you on your social media? How
Ooh.
can people find you?
Yeah, so I do have Instagram. It's runnerbabe23. I do have my backup girl page, and I really, really tried hard to get on the live with that one here, but it didn't work. It's just under Veronica. I don't really have any pet names or anything like that. I'm just not Jungle Pam. That's what I'm not.
Yeah,
So
duh.
it's just Veronica. I have my personal Facebook page, and I don't think I'm gonna put that out there, but everyone who knows me and already has it. So that's no big deal. But yeah, I mean, honestly, if they just go off this live and just click on Veronica, they should be able to find my page pretty quickly. So
Yeah, and I'll screenshot your page afterwards and then just
perfect.
add it, because I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
add
can
this
just
one with the post I did for Cody, because I wanted you to be on there when I did the interview with Cody,
I
but
know, and Tulsa was kind of a mess. I mean, they were trying to beat the weather, and they moved up qualifying, and there was a lot going on. Like I said, we don't just back up the cars. We have a lot going on in the pits, and especially when they're rushing and trying to get people ready for an hour earlier qualifying time. It's everyone's hands on deck, and none of us have a specific the bugs don't have a specific job. Sometimes it's just kind of like wherever they need you, and I feel like I was 10 hands on deck on Friday. I feel like I was all over the place, and then I had Kennedy with me, and that's not a stressful thing by any means, but it's just an extra thing that I have to be aware about, and I wanted to make sure my full attention was on race day. So I really appreciate you including me, but we got it done nevertheless.
yes. And I wanted to ask you, what do you James and Eiley?
Sorry, you kind of broke up.
What do you think of James and Eiley Day?
Oh my God, they're like, how like people think of like prom king and prom queen? That was like they're like the prom king and prom queen of. racing. No, it was so cute. I've got the cutest like behind the scenes photos, and like she gets in the car and she's just kind of fitted, just sitting in there, and they're looking at her, and it was like, and she's over there, dude, she was over there cranking the over like,
Yeah.
oh my, I said, dang girl. And she walks in the pits and she's got her little leather bag, her little Trophy Queen Designs, I think is, she told me the person who made the bag, kind of like Lisa makes her stuff. And it's just this
Yeah.
sparkly helmet bag, she's carrying in there. She's got clutch dust all over her hands. And I'm like, who are you? Like, I mean, I know who she is, but like, it was really cool to see because like I said earlier, we talked about how women are so underestimated and how, we can't do it both, or can't do both at the same time, but we sure as hell can. We can have our hair cut, we can have our nails done, and we can dress up and wear sparkles, but we can be fist deep in the clutch, when things go awry. So there's that too. But it was great. James is great. I've never really officially met him in person before, but I've seen all of his accomplishments, and I think he's a great driver for that team, and I really hope I see him in the final in Ennis. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Eiley and James were both really, really great people, and I think they're somebody you can look up to in the sport. So
Yeah, it's funny because the reason why I ask you that, because James is my racing uncle, Eiley's my racing big sister, and Eiley actually is driving a funny car this year.
yeah,
First year
she's actually got a race
ever she's
up here
doing
pretty
that.
soon, I think. And that's, like I said, that's really cool. That's like the mom and dad of drag racing, just kind of getting it done. Kind of how, people look at it differently, but like Leah and Tony Stewart, like they're, husband and wife going at each other type thing. That's a little different, but they're both doing the thing and they're doing it together and they get along very well, and they represent their teams very well. So I think that it was great. It was so fun to meet her, and I can't wait to see her again.
Yeah, and actually I got this from her. Like last year, but this is one of the cars she drives.
Oh yeah,
It's like an altered body,
I've seen that.
and her and James are like one of the most like sweetest. And I'm gonna tell them that you called them the prom king and queen. I'm gonna tell them that next time when I see them. But I'm just glad that you got to meet Eiley, because for me, she's somebody that really is another good example of a big sister, but also somebody that is a good person in drag racing too, because she's drove dragster, like I think a alcohol dragster, the altered, and now funny car. And it's crazy because for me, when people say, "Oh yeah, this is what she looks like Jungle Pam, or she acts like Jungle Pam," it's like, no, you don't. You act like somebody with your own style.
We're all different in our own right. You're different, Megan. I'm different. We're not two in the same persons, and that's what makes it so cool, because you're gonna say something different than I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna wear something different than you're gonna wear, and we either learn from it or we want to emulate it. So it's one way or another. God made us differently for a reason, and I'm proud of that. So
yeah, and I hope your daughter Kennedy wants to be a bug someday. Like
I'm
mama.
not gonna lie to you. I don't think she wants to be a bug. I think she wants to be a driver.
Oh.
Yeah, we had a whole discussion on the way back from Tulsa, and she's like, "Mom, I want to drive a junior dragster," and I was like, because my dad actually built this little funny go-kart for the kids, the grandkids. There's quite a few of my nieces and nephews, but the majority of them are boys, right? So he's like, okay, we got to get them started early, and so he built this little go-kart for them, and he's got one of those like nostalgic, like little old funny car bodies that go on top of it to make it look like a funny car.
Yeah.
And my nephew was the first one to try it. He jumped right in it, and he was like running all over the place and having so much fun. Kennedy, for a while, it took her a while to warm up to it. She finally got into it one day and was doing so well. Like, honestly, following directions. She knew the gas, she knew the brake. She was doing so well. She slows down, stops the go-kart, gets out of it very calmly, takes her helmet off. It was a little unicorn helmet with the mohawk. It was the cutest thing ever. And she gets out of it, and she's like, I don't ever want to do that again. And she just way. And I was like, okay, all right, I guess we'll not do that again. I don't know what else to say. Like I can't force you to do it. But it was the calmest no I've ever seen in my life. And then now
Oh
it's
my
like,
God.
I think she sees more things from a driver's perspective than she does from a backup girl's perspective. Like she's seen
Yeah.
me do my job, and she's like worn my boots and was like, oh, like I know Mad Maxine has her daughter who's like pretended to like go behind the car, and like I think they see what they see and they copy it, and that's why we should be so careful about what we say and how we act. And
Yeah.
not only is our daughter watching, other kids are watching, and other people are watching, and it's the same with adults. Like I don't want to make a fool of myself, or say something I shouldn't say, or we have to represent ourselves at the end of the day
Yeah.
regardless. But she spoke about it, and I said, okay, well, I guess we'll start back in the go-kart. Like I was so shocked to hear that, but who knows? She could change her mind. Kids are crazy like that. She changes her favorite flavor of lemonade every other day. So who knows? Could be something different tomorrow or the next
Oh
day, but we'll
man.
see. I'm happy to be her mom regardless, even if she says she hates drag racing and never wants to go again.
Was she at Ennis with you last year in May?
She was not. She was at MoCan with me in August.
Okay. Because the reason why I ask is because I would have loved to have met her, because she seems like the type of a girl that would just be a good example for like. I was gonna ask you, but I didn't know how to ask, but I think I figured it out. Would you want me to be like her racing the big sister for her to look up to?
I mean, absolutely, Megan. I think that's a part of having a community, is making sure you're surrounding yourself with women and people that are going to be good examples for you and your kids and your racing team. And like that's point blank and period right there. Is as long as you're a good person and you represent yourself well, absolutely, I would want you to to do that. So
And I know you have to go because I know you need to go take care of Kennedy.
bedtime
But
routine.
I will repost this tomorrow. I will talk to you later then.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate you doing the interview, Megan. I had a lot of fun answering your questions. Like I said, I've watched a few of your other interviews, and you ask a lot of questions that people just they don't really ask in general, and they don't really know a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, and a lot of them just don't really know us as a person either. So it's really good to get that information out there and just talk about it. Just talk about how fun being a backup girl is, and not make it as scary as it seems. So I really appreciate
Yeah.
you doing this. It was really fun.
You're welcome. And for me, doing interviews it's pretty scary at first, but once you get used to it, you're just like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, I can do it. I can do it.
I don't do a lot of live stuff because I'm like I said, we talked about this earlier. There are insecurities that people have. I don't really like talking on camera. So this is a little newer for me, and you got me out of my shell. So I appreciate that too.
Oh, you're welcome. And tell Kennedy that I said hello.
Absolutely, I will. I'm gonna go yell at her. It's past her bedtime.
But and you can get the stickers and the hero card and like the little other gifts you want to get for me. You can get it out whenever you can.
Sure
And I'll
can.
get
I
them all
will. I will
stuff.
put that in the mail for you this week, Megan.
Okay, love you, big sis.
I love you. Thank you so much.
Bye.